This is All of It on WNYC. I'm Allison Stewart. Coming up this hour, performances from our CR5 music studio. NPR named Annie DeRusso's Super Pedestrian one of the best records of 2025. We'll hear some songs live from our studio. But first, Brandee Younger. Harpist, composer, and bandleader Brandee Younger's latest album was named after a word of the day email while the musician was on tour. The word was Gadabout. That's a person who moves from one social activity to another, and it led to the album's title, Gadabout Season. Another fun fact about this project, Brandee recorded it on a harp once played and owned by Alice Coltrane. Brandee is now the harp's custodian. Brandee joined us in studio with her band to play some songs from Gadabout Season. Here's the title track, live from our studio. That was Brandee Younger performing the title track from her new album, Gadabout Season. She's here with her trio. You want to introduce us to everybody?
On drums, Queen's finest, Alan Mednard.
Hey, Alan.
And on basses, Rashawn Carter.
Nice to meet you as well. The word Gadabout Season. When did you first hear the word Gadabout?
It was a word of the day email while we were on tour.
That's so funny.
That's really what happened.
So you said Gadabout.
Yeah.
Gadabout.
I emailed it to him, to Rashawn. I said, "You're a Gadabout." And then, a few months later, it came back. And it sort of just became this thing while we were on the road. You know, being on the road is hard. People only see the finished product of the stage, but we're really just trying to like get from point A to point B and maybe take a shower. And it's hard. So it's really just about making an intentional decision to find some joy. Is that going for a meal somewhere, going for a walk, experiencing where we are, but really putting the work in to find joy, because sometimes it takes work.
So you were looking at the upside of Gadabout, because Gadabout could be negative, or you can decide I'm going to experience this as a positive thing.
I'm not going to lie, I wasn't sure.
Oh.
So because the word wasn't so common, I kept asking people while we were in Europe about it too, in the UK, and some people were like, "Oh, we don't know that word. We don't use that word." And then some people were like, "It could mean like you little like risque," and I'm like, "Oh no, we want to use this as like wholesome."
Yes.
Wholesome fun.
Like I always think about a butterfly as a gadabout. Like it goes from flower to flower. Not that kind of butterfly, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yes. No, wholesome over here, guys.
Wholesome we're talking about. Talk about the album as a whole. When you were thinking about an album as a whole, were you thinking about a story you wanted to tell as an album? Were you thinking about tracks as each story, or were they all different chapters in a story?
Yeah, I was really thinking of it as like a diary entry. When I went to write the music, I went upstate to my cousins, and they met me upstate, Rashawn and Alan, and we worked the music out. Rashawn brought his recording rig and recorded everything up there, which is how we ended up recording the album at home, so we could take our time with it. But I essentially saw it as a diary entry, and I wanted the tracks to actually fall in chronological order. But I got voted out in terms of track order. But absolutely, and then it was intentional to not have words, because I really wanted these feelings and emotions to be conveyed sonically.
What did being upstate, outside of your own element, how did that contribute to your creativity, to your songwriting?
It gave my brain a rest. It gave, there's just nothing going on up there. And so I had time and space, really mental space, to just, I hate to use this word, but create, literally.
Did you have to find the time to create? I mean, like sometimes people get upstate and they suddenly have to look for things to keep them busy. Were you that kind of person, or were you able to be like, oh, I'm relaxed, I understand, I don't have to do anything right now?
Well, no, I went with the goal of I have to leave with, I actually didn't intend to leave with as much as I left with.
Oh, interesting.
Because I just wasn't being creatively productive for such a long period of time. So I said, all right, maybe if I leave it like 2 things, I'll be satisfied. But I left with a lot, actually most of the album, ultimately.
Wow. So you had a lot built up inside of you.
I guess so.
You really didn't get a chance to let out because you were busy, because you were touring, or?
Yeah, busy, always on the road, always touring. And what I learned in this whole process, and it's funny, I was telling John before that Rashawn recorded the album and he produced the whole thing, but his process is very different than the process that I'm used to, which is like one and done, on to the next, on to the next. It became a really long process, which annoyed me at the time.
Oh my gosh, I wish you could see his face.
But ultimately, I could, in, what do they say, 2020's hindsight or whatever the saying is, I could see now that the long process of taking forever to finish the album actually helped me to process.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't really, someone was like, is writing music, are you able to process your feelings and thoughts? It actually was the process of recording and kind of continuing to dig at it and revisit it, which is what helped me process.
This is a kind of a dumb question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. How does one travel upstate with the harp?
That is not a dumb question. You need a core. You need a big one. I have an SUV, so you lay the seats down flat in the back and put the harp in. I also brought the smaller harp just in case.
Do you compose on the harp, or do you use a piano or a keyboard?
I do compose on the harp, and I know you're supposed to compose on piano, but I'm most comfortable here.
Why is that?
Because I can't really play piano. Not very well.
Well, as you're composing on the harp, are you thinking about the drums? Are you thinking about the bass lines that are coming in?
Absolutely. There was actually a lot of push and pull between the three of us in certain songs where I wanted this, and then could you play it like this? But then no, the bass gonna play it like that. And I'm like, but I want it like this because I wrote it that way. So, it's a lot of, give and push and pull.
That's interesting. How do you know when it's time to give up? Other times you're like, no, we're going to do it this way.
I guess, no one's ever asked me that before. So, on one hand, I was just like, I don't have any patience, whatever. But then I would maybe think about it later and go, well, no, like, for example, one of the tracks is Breaking Point. I wanted it to be like anxiety full. And I wanted the bass line. I played it a certain way. I wanted it to be staccato, short notes. And then Rashawn was playing it like long notes. And I'm like, no, we got to meet in the middle somewhere here. Or at least I explained what I wanted to achieve and kind of working together to find that thing.
My guest is Brandee Younger. Her new album is called Gadabout Season. We're going to hear another song. What are we going to hear this time?
We are going to hear New Pinnacle.
This is Brandee Younger. You're listening to my conversation with Brandee Younger about her latest album, Gadabout Season. We'll have more after a quick break. This is All of It on WNYC. I'm Allison Stewart. Brandee Younger's latest album is called Gadabout Season. It was recorded in her East Harlem apartment on Alice Coltrane's harp. Here's more of my conversation with Brandee Younger. You are the custodian of Alice Coltrane's harp. What does that mean?
It means I have that harp.
And you use the harp on the album.
Yes, I feel very lucky to not just to have such a wonderful relationship with the family and the estate. I'm also on the board of the John and Alice Coltrane home. But yeah, the harp.
Without sounding too woo-woo, does it speak to you? Do you hear her on it?
We'll allow the woo-woo in this instance. You know, this wasn't my first time playing the harp. I'd played it before for a tribute in LA. However, this time is different. The harp was restored in Chicago at Line and Healy. Yeah. And then after it was restored, it was shipped for me to play in Detroit. It was the premiere of the harp. You know, it was a whole year of Alice, wonderful, actually 2 years of all of these wonderful Alice Coltrane events and talks and everything. So this time was different because I had my surreal moment with it pre-restoration. Note I say pre-restoration because restoration, things change. You know, the sound changes a little bit different. We have the original soundboard. I really had ample time in this album making process because we did it at home instead of doing a one and done in the studio. I had ample time to play the harp, just literally scales, warm up, and to really now to sound woo-woo, become one with the instrument and to find my own voice on it so that it got to a point where it's like, okay, no, I'm playing Alice Coltrane's harp. I'm playing this incredible instrument. But now I'm sounding like myself, you know, and just to extend the woo-woo feels like an extension of me. I know, cheesy, but it's true.
It's true, though. Let's make it cheesy. It's true.
It's real. I'm being honest here.
You recorded in your apartment?
Yeah.
Your apartment, is it made to be recorded in, or was that just something you decided you were going to do?
So it's something that I just decided to do. You know, I told you how we were upstate and Rashawn recorded what we did upstate, and listening back to the quality of that, he said, you know what, we could do this back at your place because I already do my overdubs at home anyway. But this was the first time basically having a full band with the drums, you know. So it was a bit of an undertaking. Rashawn did it all by himself. I'm not even going to lie. Literally all of it. But because we did it at home, we had the time. We weren't restricted to 3 days in the studio. So we really had ample time to really lay into the music.
What was it like to have the whole trio in your apartment recording?
It was hot. It was hot. And I ordered food that they didn't eat. But it's actually great because there were no outside influences. There were no engineers around. There were no label people around. So I think that really added to the authenticity of the music. I could completely be myself. I'm by myself with these dudes. We're on the road all the time, in too close quarters anyway. So,
but that's big that there was nobody else around.
Nobody.
The last song you're going to play for us is BBL. What does that stand for?
It's just the file name that we never changed. You're not buying that?
Not really, but I'll go with you on it. That's okay.
But I like to think of the song
Be
as...
back later. That's what we'll call it.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
All right.
Be back later. I like to think of this one as a confrontational conversation. Like when one person, you ever have a convo with someone and only one person is getting any words in?
Okay.
That's what this one is.
This is Brandee Younger. That was my conversation with Brandee Younger. Her latest album is titled Gadabout Season.